Good morning. What a fantastic view it is from up here. Congratulations to the class, and thanks for having me. Thank you, Madam President, Chancellor Page, the faculty, parents, and of course, thank you to the class of 2016. To those here in attendance in their honor, I thank you as well, on their behalf and on mine. I give these thanks because an educated citizenry is crucial to society's future, and that means that your children's futures are important to my children's futures. Thomas Jefferson knew this when he and others established this cornerstone of our democracy, our systems of public education. Rooted in New England state constitutional language, this American idea and ideal maintains itself today and has spread around the world. Ironically, while it has evolved over the decades, it has remained basically the same today as more than 100 years ago. This is troubling as our needs have grown, the world has changed, while education has remained largely stagnant. The good news is that there are hundreds of innovations taking root across our country to take the next step educationally. Recently, I was fortunate to be part of a nationally streamed White House event. I was glad to remind all those listening across the country that New England is a hotbed for this kind of work, a true pioneering region full of folks who bend the rules, take risks, and succeed. And I reminded them that that is why we love Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. They booed, but that's okay. Speaking of educational innovation, while I know some of the changes here are still under construction, I will reaffirm the President's words that the direction that UMPI is taking is groundbreaking. And in the years to come, families and faculty will look back proudly on what you have done here today and what you are doing in the future. As someone whose life work is about helping this transition, I thank you. To the class of 2016, I can sense your anticipation, and it is appropriate and good. You are moving forward in your lives through an important transition point. But I will remind all of us here today that these young people have already been leading strong lives. They have been students, but they've also been workers, leaders, troublemakers, good and bad. Many have had struggles through which they have grown, and some wrestle with these struggles still. Many have loved and lost, and the lucky ones love again. And what they lack in experience, they far make up for in free intelligence. And I am counting on that intelligence to make sense of my message, as it is less of an instruction and more of a set of ideas for you to consider. One of the great privileges of a great society is defined in part by the choices we have, and you have many good and important ones ahead of you. So let's talk about some of the choices you might have regarding integrity, honesty, commitment, generosity, and love. Let's talk about what the power of trusting your mind can allow you to do and become. And let's try to have some fun at the same time. I will start with a riddle. You are riding in a car some years from now. Maybe you are in your late 20s. Your car is full up. The back seat is covered. You're helping a friend move. The passenger seat next to you is kind of available, but things are spilling over onto it. It's raining and chilling. Evening is approaching. In the distance, you come upon a bus stop. You see three people standing there, waiting, each obviously on their own. The first to your surprise is your best friend, young and fit, mostly. Earbuds are still in, foot is tapping, hair's a mess as usual, dressed the best they can, which is still not very well. They live down the road a piece. They do not have a car. You know this because you are still driving them around all the time, just like in college. The next person you notice, to your further surprise, is someone you have a deep crush on. I mean, it hurts, right? You have mutual friends. You immediately flush. You're uncomfortable. Things seem very possible every time your paths cross, but it's just never seemed the right time to call or ask. But you notice your heart is pounding just a little faster, as it always does when you see them. The last person you notice is an older woman, 60 or 70, two bags pulling her arms down. Maybe she's gone grocery shopping, but she seems tired and even a little afraid. And you know, she looks a little like your mom. Of course, now here's the choice point. You can keep on driving, pretend you didn't see your friend, tell yourself you're going to finally go to reach out to that person you admire as soon as you can, and then you can do both those things while you're trying to forget that you left this old lady in the rain. So your first choice is about integrity and honesty, and I don't mean to them or anyone else. An important thing about this situation is nobody else will know what you decide to do, just you. And that's usually the way it is. You're not bad if you drive by the scene. It's not an obligation to stop for any of them. It is about a choice you get to make. I would suggest that as you move ahead in life, you owe it to yourself to be honest with at least yourself, to examine your integrity, to know and own the difference between what you say you value and what you do. This defines character. Early in our lives, we have others tell us what is right and wrong. We are told by other people what is good and bad, better and worse about us. This is good because as very young people, we are naturally self-oriented. This outside perspective helps us survive and grow. As we mature, we have some sense of the world around us, and you have come to see that we are part of something bigger and that we have some shared responsibility, and we take it the best we can. And of course, you care what other people think sometimes, maybe too often or too little, but we care, even if we don't say we don't. Who doesn't? But that is not what drives us to strong character. The secret to finding our own character resides in a very tough habit: ruthless self-honesty. It is easier to say that I had bad luck, or the deck was stacked against me, or nobody understood what I was up against. But the strength to look at yourself in the eye and own what is ours is invaluable. But mirrors can be lonely places when we face our real selves in private. But these reflective moments can also bear reflections of our better selves if we let them. This is a choice we get to make over and over again, being real with ourselves and accepting ourselves for who we are. Okay, so if you're honest with yourself, you want to stop your car here for lots of good reasons. I mean, friend, right? Love, maybe. Lady with the bags, you're going to do some good. Maybe you get something more out of it. Who knows? But you look to your left and you remember you only have one seat to share. You can't offer all three a ride. So in this story, your next set of choices give you an opportunity to explore three important values. These are commitment, generosity, and love. Commitment is a decision that often comes with costs and trade-offs. Commitment comes easily when you are choosing something you like or need. Commitment is harder when the choices are confusing and difficult. Commit to a team, go Pats. The others suffer, good. Commit to a job. Trade-off, opportunities narrow, income security increases. Commit to a cause, justice, but that means taking sides. Still, despite the cost, commit to anything but commit. And commit to your vocation, which is often very different than a career if you are lucky enough to find it. A vocation calls us forward and makes us pine. It is on your mind often. It is the thing you wish you could do if you were free and had more time. Vocations rarely depend on money, but they often depend on courage. They're a kind of life dream. Vocations are hard to come by. I am living mine. You have plenty of time to find yours, but isn't your job in the near term to organize your life to find your vocation? Some of you already know your calling, but doubt clouds your view of how to grab it and live it. Find your way to these callings. Commit to your vocation if you are lucky enough to recognize it when it shows itself. Maybe life will be better this way. As you find your way forward, also find time to commit to closeness and friendship and relationship. Friends are what life is all about. Solitary survival has never worked. No one made it over the land bridge alone from what is Russia to Canada today in the prehistory winter. More about travel in a moment. Relationships really do matter. Robert Putnam, a well-known researcher, asks, how many people are there in your life that you would go to early with very important personal news? A serious illness. I'm getting married. We're having children. The test is not about Snapchat or an Instagram post. It is about the actual call or visit you make to share the news. Think for a minute. How many people like that do you have in your life today? The research says the average is 9. If you have 3 or less, come see me after. Studies show your life expectancy is lower than it needs to be. So it turns out that friends can be real lifesavers without even trying. Who knew? Commitment to friends does not mean only having fun and agreeing. It means arguing and learning. Someone once said, standing up to enemies is hard and important, but standing up to friends is harder and maybe more important. Too many of us see our friends struggle and we stay silent. We see them espouse confused things towards others. Sometimes it's racist. Sometimes it's about class. Sometimes it's just mean. Sometimes it's about religion. And we let it go. We see them treat themselves badly. We see them in addiction. We see them in abuse. We see them in deep self-doubt. And we fear and we too often hide behind the veil of independence, fooling ourselves that it is their issue to resolve. Fight this bad idea. Stand up to your friends and for your friends. Commit to them fully, even if it ticks them off. So friends and commitment are important, but do you stop and give your friend a ride? What, are you crazy? With that hot prospect standing there waiting to get to know you better, maybe give, you're sharing, you're texting each other tomorrow. Or that lady drenched in the rain who looks like your mom. But then things get a little tougher. Love is looking good, but what about the old lady? She looks tired. You know what needs doing, but maybe it's okay. Maybe someone else will give her a hand. But this is an easy lift. She is no threat. You can feel good about doing something good. It allows you to enjoy generosity, not from others, but by you. Generosity is a force that multiplies love, strengthens commitment, as it allows us to model integrity and build trust. Trust in others and trust in ourselves that we know when to do the right thing and will. Generosity is usually understood as giving to others, but I ask you to be generous to yourselves without sliding into pure selfishness. What's the difference? You'll know. Let your ruthless self-honesty tell you. One way to be generous to yourself is to travel the world before you are 30, risking early wins in career and maybe relationship, to explore and partake in an activity that is at the root of human evolution. As a people and pre-people, we wandered from Africa to Europe to North America. This courage, born originally out of necessity, has helped us grow and thrive as a species. Wanderlust is a choice of courage and uncertainty, and an invaluable source of experience and knowledge. And today, it provides a window out into the diverse and beautiful world beyond our borders. It will help contradict the extreme xenophobia that is coming to define us too well. This perspective of difference will be crucial today and tomorrow for all of us and for you as we navigate a politically and economically tenuous situation. And besides, the food is really good. So be generous to yourself. Start a retirement savings plan soon, certainly, but put money into a travel account starting tonight and don't touch it. Generosity comes at a cost when in the service of others, but it is a chance to pay forward, which is almost always a good idea. Years ago, when tolls actually took coins and people worked as toll takers, a few of us would sometimes pay for the car behind us without knowing who was in it. It was mostly just fun to watch in the rearview mirror as the confused drivers talked to the toll taker. But we knew that the people behind those wheels would enjoy that, and the toll takers liked it also. Just a few years ago, I was standing at a new grilled cheese stand at South Station in Boston, the train station in Boston. I love grilled cheese. I mean, it is right at the top of the list. And I mean, you add some mayo, it is just ambrosia. I live for that. Anyway, there's a short line. The man in front of me was waiting for his. A homeless man slips into our orbit and asks for food. We ignored him like the invisible, dirty wraith we thought him to be. He asks again. The man ahead of me, sandwich comes. He holds it for a moment, looks at the guy, and says with a sigh tinged with hungry regret but full of certainty, "Here, you need this more than I do." The homeless man thanks him and moves off. I get my sandwich a second later. I pause, take a breath, but then I hand my sandwich toward the first guy. "This is for you," I say with mixed feelings. He accepts with a smile. "Thanks, I'm really hungry." I'm glad for a second, but I'm hungry too. What did I do? What difference will that make? That cost me $5. I have to go soon. No time to reorder. A moment later, true story, the lady behind me nudges me with her sandwich in hand. "I don't need this. You take it. You earned it." She grunts as she rushes off for the train. This all took about 10 seconds, but I will never forget strangers paying forward. Generosity is nutrition for strengthening the soul when in the service of others or ourselves. So what choice do you make? Your friend, who you're supposedly committed to, is going to get wet because you are not stopping for them. Instead, maybe you get to act generously towards somebody who has less, the lady with the bags. Your conscience is working hard as you stare over toward her, but when you see the object of your affection more clearly and more closely, your mind starts giving over to your heart and other parts of your anatomy. A chance to choose and exercise love. This is almost always a good idea. Love is a close relative of generosity and is strengthened by commitment. It is also good all on its own, even in failure. Never give up on love. Love is sometimes fleeting, sometimes painful, sometimes glorious, sometimes confusing, but it really is what makes the world go round. So here's your chance to chase love, to act with courage, put yourself forward, test those furtive glances, make the connection, and follow your heart. But then you remember, I don't even know that person really. I mean, they don't know me. What are the chances? Doubt emerges, darkens your view, things get a little colder, fear follows, your confidence is waning. The old lady option is looking better and better. And you remember your friend owes you money because they never have any when you go out. Maybe this is your lucky day to get paid back. Oh my God, what do? Too many choices, no good choice. Old lady, best friend, or lust, I mean love. But before we go on, let's pause for a minute and discuss the secret ingredient to solving this riddle. Your minds. One of the great things including our spirit, that sets us very different from other animals is our ability to think, to see, to analyze, to think ahead, and to create. One of the most exciting parts of your lives will be to see and help manage the great innovations of the future. Those with brothers and sisters 8 and under, no driver's license for them. They won't need them, might not be allowed to drive, too dangerous, too reckless. Driverless cars are here. More robots are next, not sci-fi fantasy droids, but any routine service, activity could be automated in a few short years. Easy Pass, Amazon drones, about waitstaff and cashiers. Are they next? Google lifelike robots after I finish speaking. I heard the president say social media, do not search for that now. But you will see that our minds as humans have the power to do the once unimaginable. 104 years ago, Orville and Wilbur Wright flew off for Kitty Hawk. Today we are going to Mars. This ability to think and create, of course, can be a wonderful thing or an awful thing. That too is a choice we get to make. But you don't have to choose about the power of your brains for the most part. It is a fabulous machine that knows few limits, or at least ones we have not reached. Each of yours is strong enough to carry you forward, despite any messages, external or internal, to the contrary. I encourage you to keep it clean, keep it safe, wear a helmet, keep it active. I don't mean luminosity. Wrestle with problems and hard ones. So this brings us closer to the close of my remarks. You have a problem in front of you as the bus stop nears. What do? You're confused, maybe nervous. But in this story, your mind works for you, and it reveals the solution to you. Best friend, woman who looks like mom, the possible love of your life. Maybe, just maybe, you can decide to apply your mind, act consistently with integrity, honor your commitment, be generous to others and yourself, and follow your heart with the assist of your mind. Maybe you can have it all. As you reach the bus stop, your friend recognizes you, your love interest glances over, looks closer and smiles just a little, but in ways that tell you that you are making the right choice. The old lady still stares ahead, dulled by her fatigue. You take your friend aside, give him your keys, and you both approach the lady with the bags. She puts them down to rest with a sense of relief. Your friend picks them up and walks them and the lady to your car. They both get in, and your friend drives off to take the woman to her home on his way back to your place to eat more of your food and drink more of your beer. You turn and walk to your soon-to-be new friend, who maybe, just maybe, might be more. You are looking forward to a long, warm bus ride together, and maybe, just maybe, you will find love. Now, this kind of life, finding these paths, exercising your mind freely, acting on values is not easy, but it is possible. And I would posit is a choice that each of us have and that each of you have, even when things look tough. Mark Twain said, later in life, you will not regret the things you did as much as the things you did not do. So here's to hard choices, to following our hearts and minds. Here's to trusting yourselves, taking risks, committing often, claiming your vocation, traveling much, to being ruthlessly self-honest, to being generous, to having friends who fight with you and help you do all of the above. Here's to handing over your keys to people you love and trust, helping people get home safe. Here's to taking the bus. Here's to embracing your values, trusting and applying your mind, your greatest gift to solve life's great riddles. And here's to having it all, even or especially when you decide to give away your grilled cheese. My best to you, and thank you very much. Congratulations.